Hey guys, Team Yugi Fails here. We're going to be doing a deck profile and tutorial video today on playing Monarchs. If you guys saw one of the earlier videos, I played against a Speedroid Magispector matchup, but that was before I kind of fixed this deck up a little bit. The build that I'm playing now is a little different, and I like this build a little bit more. It's more techy than my prior build. But let's get right into it so I can show you guys this deck profile, and then after I do the deck profile, I'm going to show you guys some of the basic ideas and concepts behind Monarchs. So, we play triple Aether and triple Erebus. You get these in the structure deck, and they're both really broken. Aether lets you shuffle a card from your opponent's field or hand into the deck, and then, or Erebus does, and Aether lets you special summon another Monarch, basically, from your deck. So we have those two. Then I play one Thestalos, one Megacaius, and then I play double Kuraz. So I'm going to get into further explanation on the stuff that you really need to know afterwards. I'm just going to kind of zoom through this deck profile here. Play double Majesty's Fiend, triple Idea, triple Eidos, and then one Mithra. Also, if you really wanted to, you could pull one Eidos for a land robe, or Landrobe, however you want to say it. But honestly, this one is a lot better in the deck. That rounds up the monster lineup. Onto the spells, we're playing triple Pantheism. Obviously, you need draw power. Triple Tenacity, lets you search whatever you need in the deck. Triple Stormforth, obviously you want to tribute your opponent's stuff. Really good against Cosmos because they can't banish any of their monsters, or they don't get destroyed, and it's non-targeting, so you can get rid of the spaceships as well. Triple Domain, which is obviously a really good card. You could play it at 2. I was trying it at 2, but either way it works. As long as you have at least 2 copies in the deck, you can play the deck really well. One Strike. Strike is one of the tech cards that I really like because it just, you tribute one of your tribute summon monsters, and then you negate a card effect on the field. So you can negate a monster effect, spell or trap, whatever you want. So it just says negate a card, face up card's effect. So it's kind of like playing an Effect Veiler or Breakthrough Skill, which is obviously really good. Then one March. This card is okay. I like it for the searching when I need to search, but there will be times where I just dead draw it and I have to get rid of it with Pantheism. Then we do one March. Obviously, you want to have that so you can guard all your Monarchs. That's it for the Monarch spells. Then just for the other spells, we do one Rhoda, a 1-for-1, and a Foolish Burial. Onto the traps. Really easy. Triple Prime. That's all that you really need. I thought about doing 2 Prime and 1 Escalation, but Triple Prime is a lot better in my opinion. So that rounds it up for the deck profile. I am going to go ahead and jump over to giving you guys the tutorial combo video on how to kind of play this deck half decently, so you understand how to work out the kinks and things like that. So I will be right back after I get everything set up. Okay guys, so here is the tutorial video on how to basically play Monarchs if you really want to learn how to play it a little bit better than just going online, building it, having no clue how it works, and jumping right into it. This is going to help you a little bit in your play style, just so you guys can kind of understand how to make the deck work. So, essentially, you want to open up an idea and either an Erebus or an Aether. Or if you could open both, that's really good. But in this case, let's say we open Aether because opening Aether is really, really good. So I'm just going to move everything else to the side for now. Basically, what's going to happen in your first turn, if you have these 2 cards, is you're going to summon your idea. An idea is going to let you special summon Eidos, which is one of the other squires that you play. And he gives you an extra normal or extra tribute summon in addition to your normal summon. So you can therefore tribute these 2 to summon your Aether. Then from there you would get Aether's effect, which is going to let you send 2 Monarch spell or traps. If you can send Pantheism and Prime every time, it's usually pretty good. With this deck, you can also send, without a problem anyways, you can send Strike, because Strike, you can banish it to change basically all the attributes of the monsters on the field to whatever you want for the turn, which is really, really good. It helps you with some of your other combo plays that are more in-depth. But let's say that you do end up dumping your Pantheism and your Prime. So now you get this effect to special summon another one from deck, basically, another Monarch monster, essentially. So in this case, we're going to summon another Aether, and I'll show you why. Because the monster that you summon with this effect returns to your hand at the end phase. So during your end phase, this is graveyard, during end phase, this returns to your hand. So now let's just say it goes to your opponent's turn. Now your opponent tries to target this with, let's say, a Castell. Let's just say they try and Castell it. I'm not going to go into any of the graveyard banishing stuff because I'm sure everyone knows how Pantheism works. You banish it and you select 3. Really self-explanatory. Obviously, in an actual duel, I would banish this, but we won't go into that. So your opponent, let's just say, tries to Castell your Aether. They have to target it and everything, and in response, you could chain your Aether effect from hand, which is going to allow you to tribute summon this, so you can summon this from hand. So now that this gets summoned, you get its effect again to dump 2 Monarch spell or traps. I'm not going to do that because I already showed you how it works. But you then get your special summon, which you're going to play Karaz. As long as your opponent isn't playing something... well, actually, yeah, you could do it even against Cosmo. This card is really good. So this card is going to let you destroy up to 2 cards on the field, and whoever controls those cards gets to draw a card for each card destroyed. So basically, you're going to get to pop 2 of your opponent's cards. They're going to get to draw 2, but that's okay because you got rid of some of their stuff, which is always a good thing. And then let's just say they don't destroy it. End phase, this comes back to your hand. So that's kind of one of your basic opening plays, and obviously you draw something during your next turn or whatever. But let's get into another play here that I'm going to show you. This is a really easy play. Let's say you open the idea again, and you open Majesty's Fiend. We're just going to actually make a hand here, somewhat. That way we can kind of explain it a little better. So let's just say that we open with this. We open with an idea, a Majesty's Fiend, a Pantheism, a Prime, and an Erebus. This is a really, really good hand, if no one knows that it's good. So you basically activate Pantheism and dump the Prime. That way you can draw 2 cards. Then you're going to end up normal summoning, sorry. You're going to normal summon the idea, get the idea effect to special summon the Eidos. Now, most people would think that you are going to summon Erebus here because you can shuffle 1 card for your opponent's hand, but that doesn't really make a difference because you're going to just end up tributing the idea and summoning Majesty's Fiend, because you can banish the Pantheism and you can end up searching a domain, and then you activate domain and you end your turn, because Majesty's Fiend is going to make it so your opponent's monsters can't activate their monsters can't activate effects in general. And then Domain is going to make it, seeing you control a tribute summon monster, your opponent cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck. So you completely cut off a lot of the decks in the current meta, which is a really good thing. This card also destroys Cosmo. Majesty's Fiend makes it so their Cosmo monsters cannot use their effects to special summon. Really, really good effect. And he's 2,400 attack, so it's not like he's lacking attack points. He does have a very powerful attack, and it makes it very difficult for your opponent to get over this board. So if your opponent cannot get over this board and they have to just keep setting monsters and passing, well, you're in the clear, because then you can just continue pushing through and hitting damage at one point. So that's another basic combo. I won't get into details on everything as deep as I would like to, but I'll do one more slight example on how to do this. We're gonna show you another really, really good hand. So let's say we open up with this hand of your Domain, without Eidos, obviously. We'll just say that there's an extra card in there somewhere. I don't care what it is. Just pretend that we drew like a twin twister or something. I don't know. But first turn you open this. This is a really good hand because you're going to summon the idea. Once again, idea special summon. You're going to get Eidos. And with this hand, I would actually end up tributing these two for the Erebus. Because then Erebus, first turn, you're going to get to send your spell, your 2 spell and trap cards to the graveyard. And then you get to shuffle 1 card from your opponent's hand into the deck. So your opponent is only going to start with the same number of cards you started with. And then you can activate Domain, and you can obviously banish Pantheism if you want to let's say, search for a Tenacity or whatever. Or not a Tenacity, a Stormforth. You obviously play 3 Stormforth, so you're going to reveal 3 Stormforths or a Tenacity. That way you can grab a Stormforth, whatever you want to do. It's kind of better to grab the Tenacity first, because then you can reveal the Aether, which is fine because you're deck thinning at this point. That goes to the grave. You add the Stormforth. This is banished, and now you have fuel in your graveyard for Prime as well. And then from there, you're just going to basically set your Stormforth and pass, because if your opponent finds a way to get around Erebus, like let's say they were to target it with, let's just say Book of Moon. That's like the first example that comes to mind because it's a targeting spell card. You can chain Aether, tribute that for this, because you only have to tribute one tribute summon monster to summon him, or her, whatever you want to call it. And then from there, you can go off with your plays again and send 2 Monarchs or 2 Monarch spell traps to special summon your Karaz. And if you really wanted to, and your opponent were to summon a monster, well, you had your Erebus on board, and they tried to do something with their monster, you can always Stormforth or activate Aether and chain Stormforth and tribute your Erebus as well as their monster. That way they don't have a board, which is also another really, really good play that you can do. It just all depends on what you draw, what your opponent has, things like that. But that's it for the basic tutorial on how to play this deck. It's not super complex once you start playing it. Definitely you use these tips to help you in the beginning. It's not an in-depth explanation of how to play this. This is just an example and some basic strategies that you can do to make this deck work for you. So basically you want to do whatever you can to open Idea and one of these 2 or this card. As long as you can open Idea with any of these 3, as well as your mix of spells and traps that you need, then you're usually all set. The only other thing that I'm going to explain is Prime. As you saw in the deck profile, I play 3 of it. Essentially, you want to end up having 2 of those get put in the graveyard and maintaining 1 in hand. And the reason for that is because you want to set this card. That way you can recycle your Monarch spells and traps, as well as keep drawing off of it. So you're refilling your deck as well as drawing cards, which is essential because against some matchups, people will stall you out and you will end up deck thinning too much. So you want to be able to have something to replenish your resources. That way you're not running out of cards. Very, very essential card. I really like it. Has so many effects that just do so much for it. Obviously, you have the special summon effect and you have the shuffle effect, which are the 2 that make this card so good. Because why not shuffle 2 cards in your graveyard? Like, for example, why wouldn't you want to shuffle a Tenacity and a Stormforth back into your deck? That way you can banish Pantheism to search for any one of them if you already have 2 in the rest of the deck or something. You know, it all makes sense as to the idea that you're replenishing your resources and utilizing your board as well as your opponent's for tributes to plus off of it and end up just stalling them out, or locking them out, I should say, and pushing for game. So I hope you guys enjoyed this deck profile as well as this tutorial video. If you guys have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. I will be more than happy to answer them. I try to answer a lot of your guys' questions as quickly as possible. But I hope you guys enjoyed this deck profile. I will see you guys soon. This is Team Yugi Fails signing out.